so there's a member who raised the issue about shooting over our heads. It was at the airport where we have a base, your air base and your logistic base. And that happened that's where we lost the 3 soldiers. So what would have happened, which led to also the statement that one of the members from the EFF raised, was that there was an incident where the missiles came from the direction of Rwanda, and they landed on our base. And that's the first report we have, because after every 2 hours we do get reports of what is happening there. It only emerged later that it was not Rwanda that had initiated the shelling that landed up in our base. It was a response to a shelling that came from the DRC into Rwanda's direction, and Rwanda was reacting. And that's why we said, if indeed Rwanda would have deliberately targeted us as a peacekeeping force, which means they would have been declaring war. But clearly, they were responding to the DRC and not to us. And I think that's where the statement came. But so I think we'll clarify the different sequences, because I think maybe because the report was verbal, there would have been some misunderstanding about the defense. The only matter that I must say, Chair, I feel requires answering is these allegations about the reasons why we're in Rwanda, why we're in the DRC. Chair, it will really shook me to the core that heads of state of 15 countries meet in a specific day. We are saying on the 8th of May at Windhoek in Namibia. Heads of state took a decision for the Summit DRC mission. So from the allegations, so it means all of them, 15, agreed to go and protect the interests of South African business. I think it's really, it just really shocks me to think, it's really also taking, in my view, taking the entire SADC for nothing, that they could meet as heads of state on behalf of individuals in South Africa. It's a mission supported also by AU. So even AU will sit and support a mission that supports certain individuals in South Africa. Where still UN also, United Nations, sits and support a mission that is supposed to support South African business. It can't be true. It just, common sense says it can't be true. And we did spell here what were the objectives of the mission. At no stage it's mentioned any person's name. So I thought I should raise that the allegations just don't seem to, I don't want to be, I'm bullying, so I don't want to use strong words, but they just don't seem to really make adequate sense. I think the chair also raised a question about budgets, because we're mixing issues, the chair, I think. And the questions that you said I answered, yes, if I am to answer, I'll repeat them. I was talking about the inadequacy of the budget for our own local needs. When we go to Summit DRC, we go, there's 15 countries. The money that supports the mission comes from the SADC countries. Even MINUSCO, it comes from UN. So to say we would have taken the royal flag, we're not going, so why do we take a royal flag if we're not going to war? What we take is things that, like we were attacked to protect ourselves. So you take enough to protect yourself, but you don't take your firepower to a country as if you're going to war with that country. We're not going to war to that country. Whether we call it peacekeeping or what, in our understanding is peacekeeping. That's why we didn't take our fire. That's why we didn't take our fire. So I think people can call it the names they want, but to expect that we have taken our firepower to another country when we're not going to war, whereas we just needed enough to protect ourselves in case, and which happened that we attacked and we had enough firepower to protect ourselves, but we not take the firepower. So I'll repeat those things and confirm that indeed the country is safe in the hands of our members. The other question also was we're playing big Father Christmas, and then we're in the UNESCO. There are more than 10 countries. The head of UNESCO is even a Senegalese. It's not a South African. So you have your Bangladeshi army. The hospitals are run by Indian doctors. Madagascar is bringing medical. So it's a world mission. We might have been in the summit DRC, but in UNESCO there are more than 10 countries that are involved. So there's no South Africa playing big alone. It is. I thought I should raise that. You have India there. I mean, some of the soldiers that we met were in the hospital run by Indian medical personnel. There was a question whether we saw, we did have an opportunity to meet the injured. Yes, we did. We were able to visit the injured at the Summit DRC hospital and also at the UN hospital, right? So we're able to see them, even all of them. We were able to visit them that at the time had been repatriated. That's the soldiers were distracted because they had to protect the minister. When the war broke, I was in Kinshasa, not even there. So we were on our own with the officials. We had gone with senior officials from the department to go and visit our soldiers. So our visit came before the outbreak, or on the eve of the outbreak. And because, as I say, from intelligence, we were getting information that there are tensions that are brewing, and there was a need to go and speak with the government, which we did. And I want to emphasize the point that you made, and I think that's what we had said at SADC, that the challenges of the DRC have been so long and protracted. But with this modern times, we believe that you can't solve any conflict now by the gun, the barrel of the gun. Yes, you need firepower, but the solution is going to come from a negotiated settlement. That's where and that's where the peacekeeping process is coming to say you will not solve this conflict through war. You can only solve it through negotiations. And I thought also I should just share a few points that I think I should share with the committee. For instance, yes, indeed, they wanted to check if there's a colleague or a member who wanted to check what is SADC doing. As I said, last week, Friday, we went to a SADC meeting with heads of state, and a communique has been issued. It was there in the public, amongst other things that was agreed, was a ceasefire and allow a peaceful negotiation process to go, because that's what we think will bring peace, not any escalation of war. We, even at that meeting, agreed to meet the Eastern African communities, which had already met before. Because you'll remember there was a UN mission which supported the Summit DRC. There was a meeting of AU also, even before we went to SADC, which had met, but also the Eastern African Community also had met. So the agreement there was that the two communities should meet and strengthen their hand in supporting a peaceful process in the DRC. They said the meeting agreed on, before we even are told to go to ministers to see if we'll take the fire. The meeting had decided that ministers of defense and the chiefs to go to the DRC and to make sure that they can really engage directly with the forces. There's a process which has been agreed, Chair, from the Friday meeting at SADC, which is going to culminate in a follow-up meeting. So because there are negotiations, there are engagements, diplomatic engagements taking place during the week, because we're there on Friday, and there is going to be a follow-up meeting on Friday or over the weekend to check how far the processes have gone. So there is a process underway. I think the Chair, I think I've answered the question about the funding model that is funded through the 15 countries and more, as I say, also from UN. The ceasefire, I think we agreed with members who are saying diplomacy is the only agreed process if we want peace in the DRC. I think that the generals have explained the flag, we tried to explain, but I think there's a need to explain again. Who is going to be there? There was a question there. Is all that meeting on Friday identified affected parties? That indeed you will have to get Rwanda around the table, you have to get DRC around the table, but we have to get Kenya also as a country which had first was part of the earlier negotiations, the Nairobi peace settlement. We are going to have to get Angola, which had been mandated by AU to facilitate the process. And so that you don't have a very unwieldy meeting of those two communities. Then you'll have a troika from the SANDF countries and also a troika from the Eastern African countries. So there is a meeting that is there. About intelligence, as a part of us going there, Chair, it might have been that we came, I think the Chair will explain. The signs were there. And we had been really trying to do all we can, but unfortunately we ended up where we ended up. Yeah, I think the others, I don't want to comment about